Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Activities for People Living at Home with Dementia. We are proud to offer this series with funding from the Area Agency on Aging and the United Way of Tarrant County. These programs are recorded, except for Texas Winds, and are made available for viewing through a YouTube channel for future use. I am Martha Brown, your host for today's activities, and I'm opening us up, I'm opening us up to seeing sports through the eyes of Peggy Spear at the Amon Carter Museum of American Art. Peggy, we're looking forward to sports, and it's all yours. Hit us a home run.
All right. Well, I should say winter sports because I thought we've done sports before and I can't remember what sports we've done. So let me share.
And she's trying to talk.
All right.
I know.
Wait, there we go.
What are you doing?
Why do we keep doing that? Hold on.
What are you doing?
I don't know what I'm doing.
My computer's acting up too.
You're just here for a ride.
I am
Right. Okay. Have we looked at this artwork before?
No.
I
I
haven't
don't
seen it.
think so. We've had one
Guys, I have
similar,
had-
but I don't think
I've had a very
it's the same
vivid-
one. We've had one similar with skaters, but I don't think this wasn't the one.
I couldn't find it in past what's it called? PowerPoints. But I have a very vivid memory of us talking about this. So my dreams, anytime I take melatonin, anything is up for grabs with reality versus my dreams. So that was a melatonin-induced dream. Here we are. We are looking at, what are we looking at?
Skating in Central Park.
Central Park, we are looking at the skating pond, which is the Bow Bridge or over the back. You can see people are skating under the river or on the pond there. What are some of the things you see happening? There's a lot happening.
Peggy, it does look familiar now that we're talking about it, where it is. I'm sorry, but no, that's great because we need to look at it again.
I was gonna say, if we all collectively don't remember, then it's like we're reliving it all over for the first time.
I don't remember it because I don't remember.
Don't remember it either.
Well,
Okay, good.
whatever we did looked very similar.
Okay, well,
I see a
tell me
fella.
again what you see.
I see a fella tying his laces on his skates on the right side.
Mhm.
Yes,
Oh, see, I see the dog.
the little puppy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
see
I
a
see
man pushing a woman like in a
On a
skating
sled.
chair.
Yeah,
Sled, yeah. Yeah.
How lucky she is. She can't fall.
The flag.
The flags.
and then I noticed the clothes of the women that they are out there
Mhm.
in long
Mhm.
dresses.
Mhm.
Yes. So Yetta, this was a thing I did not know. This was a thing that there was your fashionable skating wear. So there were outfits made to be fashionable for while you were skating.
Oh,
Interesting.
So you can see some of them have very similar coats.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them, there's fur involved because this was at a time where there were very few things that where both men and women could do commingled. And so this is one of those moments. So everyone wanted to look their finest.
So
And that's amazing when you look at the year that it was done.
Tell me about it.
Now, 1862, I mean, that people were out there skating like that and dressing up and having fun. I mean,
And what's even more shocking about it, it was during the middle of the world of Civil War.
oh
Yeah.
really?
yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
So
Well,
this, I mean, say that again, Martha.
that is hopeful.
Very
Yes.
hopeful, very hopeful. And this, this does not look like a wartime image at all.
No.
At all. And it's Courier knives. So these are our
Courier
old
knives, yes.
friends, Courier knives. And so this is something that the country needed. Country wanted,
Mhm.
country was in a bad way. And so this is one of those images that's so removed from the reality that a lot of people were living in. So it was this is one of, a certain certain websites rank it like one of Currier and Ives top 50 prints, and they produced 4,300 prints. But this is one of those that people really loved because it was not sad.
Mhm. I was looking at it, the ladies up front are so refined and so delicate in the way they're doing it. You look in the middle, you see those guys, it so almost looks like they're just goofing around.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy's getting dunked with his
Yeah,
hat,
yeah,
and chasing the
yeah,
other one.
yeah.
So
Somebody's sitting.
Peggy,
Yeah.
I know you said you were talking about the dresses earlier,
Mhm.
but thing I see is that I'm amazed that we're allowed to show that much ankle on the ladies.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, we've got some bloomers here, so not everybody was showing that ankle.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, totally. And I wondered part of it too was like the function of the skate. Like they could only
Yeah.
wear so much.
Mhm, mhm.
Um,
Yeah, they couldn't have it down onto the skate itself.
No.
And
because
what's
of-
interesting is it looks like some of them are actual skates. Like you can see this woman is wearing a true skate. And then we've got this, what looks like almost you're stepping your shoe into something with strap on.
the strap
Mhm.
on, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you
Yeah.
think it's all those with the boots that women just were wearing boots and then they took the skates on?
I can't tell. That to me would make the most sense, but I can't really tell because this looks like a full boot and a full boot.
Because the skates I had, the first pair, they were with a screw and they, you tightened them onto your boot.
Oh, you would.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm,
Oh,
mhm.
so then, yeah, surely these are all, accessories to shoes. They're not
Yeah.
full skates.
My
But
first
what's
roller
interesting-
skates were like that.
Yeah. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh.
Yeah, roller
Right.
skates.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 And
I
you
got a
can
key.
see here, this guy is like strapped to the nines. So there might have been an option in your boot wear, ice wear during that time.
I guess depends on how wealthy you were.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, because I mean, look, she's wearing a
point.
stole.
Good
She has
point.
like a fur
Mhm.
stole
Yeah.
and a fur muff and a beautiful hair.
They-
Speaking
looks
of
like some ladies have high side dresses that are I can't think of the West word. They're wider than others. If you look at the lady on the right that's got kind of the reddish dress, it's almost on the ice itself. You see how
Yeah.
big it
Oh.
is. And there's a one in the middle with the yellow dress. It looks like it's just what is it called? There's a term for that type of a dress.
Like a hoop skirt?
Yeah, kind of like that, but it's bigger, even bigger than a hoop skirt. I don't remember.
These dresses look to be pretty free, athletic.
Mhm.
And then you can see how, her skirt is going in between her legs as she's
Mhm.
gliding. She seems to be spinning around so that momentum of her dress is behind her. She's it's resting on her.
Yeah.
How about these little munchkins wearing the matching outfit?
That's
Oh,
right.
yeah, they're cool. Yeah.
That looks a little bit like Mama in the front, the little girl on the right.
Hmm.
Oh,
The same kind of fur as the lady in front of us who's losing her muff.
Yeah. And
And
that's
I guess she's left dad on duty and this guy's chasing after her.
Oh, could be.
Not pursuit.
Get away from me. Hey, I see this guy in yellow back in the background is falling, obviously falling.
Oh,
His rear end.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I don't know, his scarf is like, we caught him mid-fall. His scarf is shooting
Yeah.
out.
Yes.
But what this was a lithograph, and then there were staff painters that went in and painted the color in.
Oh, yeah.
You can see it's such a deliberate choice of that color yellow to follow
Mhm.
all the way back. You're
Yeah.
kept within the artwork. But, I mean, there's so many stories that your eye is deliberately pointed to within this story.
Yeah.
Well, also, I mean, we see all this in the foreground, but on the other side of the bridge, it looks like there's an even bigger crowd.
I know.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Gosh. Yeah, and no Zamboni. So can you imagine the amount of accidents that are happening on this ice? All the grooves. I'm
Yes.
sorry, guys. I keep hitting my space bar, which is knocking it off.
I-
All right,
I
so
was-
oh, go ahead.
I was amazed. I was watching the ice skating Olympics. They had two Zambonis on the ice at the same time.
Wow.
Breaking it out. They don't have time to
Yeah.
mess around. Steve.
Yeah, they were just whooping around that thing, getting it taken care of.
They need that ice to be ready.
Yep.
All right, so we're leaving Central Park to a less crowded, although pretty crowded skating.
Yeah, 'cause it's a smaller pond.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like this one.
Yeah, it's it feels very relatable.
Yeah.
Can't see it.
So Steve is getting the warm and fuzzies with this one. What are other people getting? Did
Looks like
anyone do this? Did anyone skate in a pond in your
I did.
neighborhood?
Yes.
did.
Yeah.
No,
Yes.
I did
Yes.
not.
I didn't even have skates. I just get out there with my rain boots and slide
Oh,
around.
that's so fun.
We
No.
couldn't afford skates.
Now, it wasn't quite as round as this one is. You know, this one's probably pretty nice, even shoreline for most of it, you know, and that's a lot of ponds are not like that. But it's kind of like you can see they're having fun because they're really trying to go fast.
Mhm.
You know, you can see the two guys and the people on the right-hand side trying to really go fast. The others are kind of a little bit, and the guy in the, so I guess third one in on the right, kind of going a little bit. And the others are kind of more relaxing.
Yeah, these all appear to be young people too.
Yes, they're all young people. Yeah,
Yeah,
And they look like the parents are off on the sideline in the
yeah, they
back.
are.
Yeah.
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 Yes.
Or so the adults are there.
I
The
wonder if
little-
it's, okay, the question is, was this all one family?
Oh, gosh, I hope not.
Like,
I-
right,
Not.
they look
I-
awful
No,
like,
they're
they look awful, they're the same size.
Yeah,
Too
yeah.
close in age. Yeah.
That poor
But-
mother, you see a woman just smoking a cigarette off in the corner, like, oh my God.
There's-
What have I gotten
There's
myself
eight
into?
kids there, but it's very possible it could be.
Truly.
Families
No,
were big back in this day.
They really were. I'm thinking because we're seeing multiple homes. It indicates
Yeah, it's very
kind of a-
possible, yeah.
a
And one,
multiple-
one family's out there watching the rest of the kids, you know, things like that, but,
Right.
you know,
It feels calmer than the last scene, but there's still
Oh, yeah.
the elements of like
Mhm.
figure skating moments. Like, look at how
Yeah.
these two are holding hands. I mean, this is like,
Yep.
if you watch any of the doubles of figure skating, or pairs figure skating, there's a
Yeah.
lot of that points
Yeah.
for whatever.
yeah, yeah,
They're even in sync. Their legs are
Mhm.
even in sync.
yeah, synchronization in there.
And
It,
what's interesting is okay, so we're in 1862 here, and now we're in 1936, and this looks like a girl just based on her hair. She's wearing
Mhm.
pants. She's wearing pants out on the ice.
Right.
Mhm.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
So she has bloomers without the skirt.
Yeah, and we've got a little skirt, but we've got, it looks more recreational and not
Yes.
more
Yeah.
the social
Right, yeah,
clout
yeah.
surrounding it.
but it's funny. The girl that has the skirt on, look at her skates.
Yeah.
They
They're
are
like
different.
tied
they're
on. They're
different.
different skate,
Yeah.
and then the two dancing. That looks like ice hockey skates.
You're right.
Yes,
Yes, it
yeah,
does.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, and then they all kind of look like ice hockey skates. So Mike,
for the
you
most
see
part,
her,
yes, it is.
she's not the best draftsman. That might just be it. Or, the skates were a little bulkier in the day. My grandmother was a professional figure skater, so we all took figure skating lessons growing up.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you
So-
know what movement looks like, Peggy.
I mean, I know what it looks like. Can I do it? No. But it was always really fun growing up because that was always something we would do as a family. All my cousins, I mean, we would go to the ice rink and skate.
Nancy, you came from California, but did you ever get to ice skate when you were a child anywhere? Or were you always in California?
When I lived in New York, we ice skated a lot. We had a pond right out in our little neighborhood. And a
Oh,
really
nice.
nice one.
Kind of like this one. That
And
you can
Nancy,
see
this is
houses.
New York,
Yeah.
New Jersey. So this is right where you would have been. This is right in that, this artist was living in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut when she was creating these scenes. So this could have been the pond in your neighborhood.
Oh, sweet.
So-
You're older uncles, Nancy.
All right.
I must admit that I lived in Missouri for a little while, and I lived literally across the street from the biggest pond in town. It was
Oh, fun.
the big park with a pool and toys and slides and whatnot, and it would freeze over in the winter.
And would all the kids go?
Yes, yes. But as I said, I skated in my little red rain boots because we couldn't afford skates.
Oh. yeah.
But I had fun.
Just as fun, just as fun.
Just as fun, yeah.
Probably safer. So now we're gonna go to,
Oh,
Ooh.
uh-huh.
so this
Thank-
one, this makes me laugh. Okay, so everybody had a reaction. What did you think when you first saw it?
That it was a Russian skater soldier with all
Yes.
his medals on.
It's military, yes.
Oh, I
Military.
hadn't
It's
noticed
in front of a
that.
castle.
Yes. And then he's from Minnesota.
Yes.
Yes. So you guys are picking up on all the things. So
He looks like a dandy.
we don't know anything about this particular person. There's nothing we could, we don't know who he even is, but this is a style of photograph that's called a cabinet card. And these were introduced in the early 1800s, no, earlier than that. I have it written down. But these were introduced, this is kind of like the precursor to a snapshot. So
Oh.
photographs were, the only time everybody ever got a photograph made was, maybe once, maybe twice in your life, just as your portrait, and that was it. Well, as film was becoming cheaper and more people were having more access to cameras, cabinet cards were a way to drive business, and it allowed people an affordable way to get their picture taken more than once. It was something that was fun. It was something that kind of like trading cards, like you give it to your family, you give it to your friends, think of like your high school pictures where you might have gotten
Oh, okay.
for your kids and stuff. You got wallets that you would give to, family and things. This is kind of like what that was. So cabinet cards, when they first came out, they were initially of the rich and the famous, the celebrities, the actors, the singers, the musicians. But then it trickled down to everybody. And it was a real fun way for people to celebrate something, for people to learn more about you, capture a moment in your life. And so while this isn't anything crazy, the pictures are about the size of your cell phone. And they were 3 times larger than any photograph people were used to seeing.
Wow.
Those days. And the way that the pictures were developed, the emulsion would allow people to be in poses because they didn't have to hold the pose as long when they were written, in original portrait photography.
So
While a lot of times they still wouldn't smile in these pictures, they were able to hold poses that they couldn't hold once in the past.
so so this is a pose in a studio, maybe?
Yes.
And it's a background he looks very real in the photo, but the background absolutely looks like it's painted.
Okay, so it is.
Olin
So
Mills of the day.
say that again.
Olin Mills of the day.
It truly, we've joked about
Yeah.
that on staff. It truly was. And so that was part of the the marketing of it, like come and get your picture taken in front of a backdrop of your choosing. And
Yeah.
So there was a big winter festival that happened in St. Paul, and this ice palace was kind of the backdrop in St. Paul, Minnesota, that everyone would recognize and know. This was taken in studio. So someone painted this background. They carved in the floor ice marks to really sell you on that believability of
Yeah.
this man skating.
Oh,
But
wow.
it was all in studio, and he wore what he wanted to wear, and he probably posed himself how he wanted to pose. And he had often the poser, the client, would buy a dozen of these cards to then collect your best friend's pictures. And so there was an informality, there was a jokeness to this, that everyone knew he's not really ice skating, but but you're there was this time when photography was allowing truth to be blurred. And so manipulation of photographs started happening in this. They might have, smoothed out his skin, or sometimes some of them, there's like a boxer might be boxing himself in the picture. They were able to kind of do that double. So you could, have these pictures portray your hobby. And in the 1880s, by this point, it was your hobby, which indicated there was more downtime. And that was something that you identified with.
Yeah.
So it was, really kind of keeping up with the culture. And on the back side, I have, on the right, that's what the back of this card looked like. So that was like a whole other business of it, was working with printers who would give you these photographers catalogs to choose from of the scalloping or not you would have on the edges, the color you wanted. So they would pick the card, order the card, and then bring the card to a printer to have their an artist create whatever their logo or embellishment. So there was a lot of marketing that happened. You can see the photographer's studio and location here. And then on the back would be the address. So people who saw be like, oh, I kind of want to go to that photographer now and get my picture made. So there was a whole business of it. And then during this time, this was also when, how you'll see the Liberty Tax guy spinning his signs and things like that.
Yes.
Women outside of these studios doing that same type of thing to get you into the photography. It was really competitive. There was not a ton of money to be made in it, but there was money to be made. So it was a very competitive field in business.
So Peggy,
Yeah.
do we know that these are even his real clothes? I mean, it looks like a very highly matched outfit.
Yeah, there probably are. He probably, this is how he wanted to portray himself.
Okay.
So,
I didn't know if they provided costumes or anything for back
there
then.
were often props and things in these studios that, this was actually part of an exhibition we had right after the pandemic, or when we were reopening again. And they're like babies in scales and dogs laying on couches. So sometimes we're not always sure where, if the photographer went to the person's house or if the studio was made to look that way. But these photographers definitely had props and furniture and things like that the sitter could choose to use or not. But the things those were his skates, I'm sure, and those are his medals, and that is his outfit. And he deliberately chose to have himself taken in this way because this is whatever his hobby is, or what he's known for, or aspires to be known for, or whatever.
Or showing off his cultural heritage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're really fun. Cabinet cards, you often see at antique stores and things like that. They're just they're comical. They're meant to be fun and entertaining. So we've got our skater from St. Paul here.
He's a dandy.
Yeah.
So here we've looked at Laura Gilpin in the past. I thought we would have more winter sports portrayed just because it can be so moody, but we really don't. We have a lot of photographs of ice skating, but this is ice hockey. And this is of a college prep school in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And it just looks like, I feel like you could pick anywhere in the country that's cold enough to have a frozen pond, and it would look something like this.
Yeah.
And not nearly as many people as that first Curry or an Ives.
It reminds me, I'm looking at the date of this. Many of the colleges, what we call colleges at this time, had farms. And this has a barn in it.
Yeah, so this was for little or young men, 12 to 18, and it was a boarding school. So there probably were farm components that the students were expected to engage with.
Yeah. Raise their food and take care of things. Yes.
I wonder if that was the precursor to FFA, the Future Farmers of America.
I don't know.
You never know.
I like the shadows.
I like the shadows too.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, you can kind of, and if you know Colorado at all too, it was probably hot outside, cold, but hot, because of that sun being out. So
Mhm,
they're
mhm.
not super bundled. I mean, they've got hats on and things, but they don't look like, it looks like they're just wearing like some khakis, and just
Yeah,
strapped on some skates.
they're pretty active, so that probably helps keep
Mhm.
keeps them warm.
Mary Jane, were you ever an ice person? Did you ever get on some skates or a pond? Yeah, and you're on mute.
No,
No?
never had that until I was in Fort Worth and I went to the skate rink
Yeah.
downtown at Candy.
Yeah.
Ooh,
But I only did that once.
and that's not there anymore, is it? Don't think
No.
so.
So
Roger,
that was my
did you ever
experience
get on
also.
some ice
That
skates?
ice rinks were my ice skating.
Did you ever get on ice skates?
Yes, I did. Very poorly. I'm sorry.
That's
No, it's okay.
Two conversations, we can do it.
Yeah, we can.
We're able. Yeah.
Roger's from Minnesota. Maybe he got on the ice. I don't know, but his dad
I'm
did.
willing to bet he did.
I bet he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is the days before they actually had a lot of equipment for hockey.
Yeah.
We just went, and this is what it would be like. I remember, when we go just play for fun, we didn't wear all the equipment. We just got out with gloves and skates and
Mhm.
sticks and played,
You did,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. And of course you got a few bumps and
Yeah.
things like that, but hey, that's all right.
Don,
Great.
when did you skate?
I skated when we lived in Decatur, Illinois for a while, about
Mhm.
5 or 6 years, maybe longer, maybe 8 or 9 years. But they it was a social thing to do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Groups of kids would get together with their parents and take them to an ice rink. And
Ooh.
and I also skated at the Tandy Center, just like Mary Jane
Mary
said.
Jane, yeah.
But and we did the same thing when the weather was warm, roller skating. We just go roller skating in groups.
Yeah, roller skating, roller
Mhm.
blading was big when I was a little kid.
Yeah, no,
Oh.
there was no rollerblading back then.
When did the Tandy Center go out? You remember?
Maybe the 80s.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be the 80s, I think.
Okay. Because I think I went to a hockey game there one time.
Yeah. Oh, that's probably in the convention, Fort Worth Convention
Oh,
Center.
okay. It could be. My wife took me there for my birthday one year.
That's
I
fun.
was at seminary the first time, and we went to. Could be. Okay.
I think I don't know, Myra, if you were with me or not. I think at least I was with Nathan. Went to a hockey game down there at the convention center.
Okay.
And they also had Disney on Ice at the old convention.
Oh
center.
yes. Disney
Yes.
on Ice.
Ooh.
We there were always indoor ice rinks in Maryland. It was like iffy enough that it should have been the rinks were indoors. And the boys' schools had ice hockey teams. So that was always like a fun high school outing. Like all the girls would go from their school over to the boys' school and watch the ice hockey game. And you were like right up in it because it was such a small rink.
Yeah.
That was always so fun.
When I was growing up in Grand Forks, North Dakota, the only indoor rink was at the university,
Mm.
but it was an old World War II Quonset building.
Oh,
Huge.
cool.
Oh, man.
Okay. And it was colder inside than it was outside. You got to
Yeah.
go
Oh, yeah.
in the
Believe
winter time.
that.
It was colder inside than outside. And the way you kept warm is you had a lot of spirit
Uh-huh.
because everybody's stomping and yelling and shouting and just, and when they moved to the new arena, it was so quiet because nobody had to stomp
Oh,
to
yeah,
stay
right.
warm.
Oh,
Yeah.
how cute.
Yeah.
I went to University of Denver for graduate school, and they have they have a good ice hockey team, and they have a really nice ice hockey arena. But you could drink in the Coors because Coors is the ones that built that arena, and that's like one of the few college campuses that you can buy alcohol at an event. So we stayed warm with alcohol. We did not have
And interesting about North Dakota is that University of North Dakota, they have a very well-known hockey team. They're nationally ranked.
Yeah.
they had to go through a name change. You know, the NCAA forced them to change their name from the Fighting Sioux. Now they're the Fighting Hawks, and we hate it, you know, because we, you know. But the hockey arena was built during the Fighting Sioux time, and so it had all of these Indian emblems
Oh,
on the building. Okay, and the guy who gave the money to do it said, if you want me to take those emblems on, I'm just going to destroy the whole building.
That's right.
Because he gave it the money. He paid for the whole thing. Okay.
Wow.
And so they finally relinquished and let him keep the Indian emblems all around the building.
Oh, interesting.
Otherwise, he was going to tear down the whole thing.
My
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah. And then they wouldn't have an arena.
Yeah.
Good history.
There's such
Good
a
piece
big
of history.
Yeah. Which is sad because University of North Dakota actually had a signed document from the Sioux Indian chiefs,
Oh,
the
wow.
tribes, that they could use that name.
Wow.
Oh, how
Even though the NCAA wouldn't honor it.
Hmm.
Even though they had that in declaration, and it was voted on, you know, this was from the 1800s, but
Mhm.
even then, just before they changed their name, the Sioux tribes again signed a document reaffirming that yes, this is the name they can use. The NCAA wouldn't allow it to have it.
Steve, would you mind doing some research and seeing what you can dig up on that? I'd love to read more about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's really
you know.
interesting.
Yeah,
You know,
I would.
it's interesting. There's only one college team in America that is an Indian name.
Is it the Ute?
No, Florida Seminoles.
Oh.
Okay,
Wait,
and
but Utah's the Ute.
it could be, but I don't know. It's just because Utah, I don't know. But Florida Seminoles, basically, Seminoles are the only Indian tribe that was never surrendered to the United States. Okay.
Steve is a
and-
fountain of information.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons is, and I'm just sorry, this is a little political. I'm sorry, I'm getting off the art part of this, but part of, I think, the you know, in this whole thing, why Florida was not required to change their name is because of money.
Well,
Yeah.
sure.
The amount of money they brought into the NCAA.
Oh, interesting.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Peggy, where did
Is
you
it-
say this
I'm
was
sorry.
again? This
Uh,
particular picture?
Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Ah,
I'm
It's
sorry
Largo.
for getting off tangents, you know. Yeah.
it's all good. It's all
Yeah.
good.
Sure.
Yeah.
I love this add-ons.
Now, what else have we seen of Laura Gilpin?
Okay, we've seen quite a few works of hers.
Yeah.
She,
Did she do the beach?
No, not typically. She was Colorado and New Mexico, and she was one of the few photographers that the Navajo Indians really welcomed into their.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that.
And we got another Gilpin with Los Alamos. So she's also photographed
yeah.
Los Alamos Boys School when.
Oh,
you
that's
all
right. I
had
remember
camp there.
I remember those pictures. Yes.
Yeah, and so she was doing the same thing here. She was commissioned to take pictures, and then she was able to, the school wanted to sell the pictures to the boys' families and all that. So that's kind of interesting. And then
Mhm.
here, this is Los Alamos in New Mexico. And I couldn't find if this was connected to the school. They look a little older. It looks like almost like they're running drills the
Mhm.
way
It does.
but
Yeah.
there is this ski resort or mountain to ski in Los Alamos. So she could have been, just at the resort photographing on her own.
Yeah.
That was a well-used mountain.
Mhm.
I know. Ooh, that would make me nervous. But yeah, I feel like this, there was very few pictures of downhill skiing. I was surprised in our collection. I thought that would be something, again, we would have more photographs of. But anyway, this was one of those photographs. I mean, and there are pictures of like skiing cross country where it's more of on a exploration type of
Mhm.
photographs,
Mhm,
not
mhm.
necessarily the recreation aspect of it. And so this to me just feels like it looks like they're going down moguls, but I don't see the moguls. It just is something kind of fun.
There's a flag there they have to say inside of it.
Yeah.
Okay, and I thought that, like, okay, are we doing like slalom or whatever?
Yeah,
But then like this guy, there's no way he's gonna hit that pin.
I know.
You know what I
Or-
mean?
or-
Like you were out of bounds, buddy.
Or it could be the flag is designated areas they need to stay away from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in bounds.
If
Oh,
you
it's
look
the
at-
end.
And these are wooden
Yeah, yeah.
skis, don't you know?
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
it's-
And they have the little circles on the bottom of them to, that might, that I was familiar with, but
Ayetta was saying it's the end. If you notice the ski patterns, they're pointed together, and that's one of the ways you stop.
yes.
Yes.
A lot of
Yeah.
pizzas.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Chop, chop.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is true of this particular area in New Mexico, but I know in Colorado, a lot of World War II training happened in like
Mm.
Winter Park and Copper Mountain for soldiers on skis. And
Mm.
so, you know, I don't know if this is at all what's happening. It doesn't look like a military issue type of situation. But the Rockies were a very common place for US military to practice ground movement on skis.
Mhm.
Military does a lot we don't know about. That's cool.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
All right, well, those are our winter sports. I hope you all are enjoying the Olympics. I've been really keyed into the bobsledding. I don't know if that's been anyone's sport of choice. What sports are you guys watching on the Olympics?
Whatever
Hockey.
is on,
Whatever's
Yetta?
on.
whatever is
Oh,
on.
whatever's on. Yeah. There's been a lot of curling on lately. I just can't get into that. I don't know.
See,
Uh,
I love the curling. I just have no clue what's going on. But I always tell Hans that had we stayed in Toronto in Canada, I certainly would have played it. I think it looks like a lot of fun just sliding up and down.
Yeah.
I
think so,
think the
too.
best is I saw a Facebook post. It had not beavers, woodchucks or something sitting on it, and they're curling down the ice.
Oh,
Oh, how
No.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the Winter Olympics.
I thought so, comma. That was
Yeah.
All right, friends. Well, I will see you next week. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and next week we're doing books. So
Oops. Okay.
yeah, we got all
Okay.
sorts of books and every way you can take it here. So we will be looking at artwork that has that. And Martha, I guess I'll see you in 20 minutes. You're on mute, baby girl. Okay. All right. I'll see y'all soon.
You're on
Good.
mute, Martha.
All right. Bye, Peggy. Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Word.
Bye,
Okay.
Peggy.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.